And our guests are here. They are walking up as we speak. I guess Emma will join us on the phone. Actually, you know what? Emma's calling in right now. So, hello. Is this Emma?
Hi, yes.
Hey, you're on the air.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, Craig is
everybody.
just about to be walking in here. So we'll, I guess, get started. You're calling in to talk about this pretty cool event going on Sunday at the Gold Horn Brewery. So how did you kind of get to be involved, with the flea market aspect, which I know is something you've been doing for what, like 4 or 5 years now? You do a couple of those a year?
Yeah, we've been doing that since, I want to say 2014. That started at the Foundry, and then we moved over to now that's Class, and then lately we've been doing it over at the Fantasy Complex since we moved Black Market Records over there. But for this one, Craig and Dave approached me because they wanted to have a flea market during their event over at Goldhorn. So I kind of just tagged along and helped coordinate all of that for them. Okay.
So kind of.
So we've got some. Some really good vendors for this one. We've got some regulars. Chris Dora. He always brings his killer tape collection along.
And shirts too. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I always spend a lot of money getting shirts from him at each of these heavy metal flea markets because he always got really cool ones. Yeah.
Every dollar that I make, I end up just spending on everybody else's stuff. So this should start.
All right, and Craig is in the studio, and Emma's already on the phone. So let me get Craig set up here with some headphones. Just a second here.
Sign me in here.
There and
have a good show. Thanks.
You can feel free to grab a chair. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Emma, and continue talking about
then she got dragged into a radio show.
That too.
I just thought it was a really fun idea. The artwork that they did for the beer is awesome. I can't remember who the artist was offhand. Craig might know. But if you haven't seen that yet, it's also on the event page, as well as a full list of vendors and all of the bands that are playing. And it's free, and it's all ages. Obviously, you have to be 21 to drink the Destructor beer or any beer. But all ages, check out bands and shop and all that good stuff.
The artist was Larry Weber, by the way.
Larry Weber.
I know that name.
So I don't know it.
I know I've heard it.
I only heard it because of this.
Oh, but whose idea was it for him to do the poster then for the event?
Oh, that's all Dave Overkill. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Luckily.
Okay.
Took a task off my hands.
Somebody that Dave knew.
Yeah. As did Emma. Took the task off my hands to run the flea market side of it, which is nice.
It sounds like the flea market aspect was kind of the last part of this to come, to kind of be added as part of the event. Like there's going to be the beer release, obviously, the record re-release, and the band's playing, and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so kind of it was like basically, we got the beer first, and it was like, all right, let's do something. And then you're sitting at a brewery and you're like, oh, we're going to have bands play here and stuff. It's like, let's not do that. Because it's just, a random place, and we have plenty of places to play in Cleveland.
Yeah, there's lots of good places the bands play.
Yeah, exactly. So why are we going to bring people to a place that they're not used to going for a show, just for a show? You know what I mean? Especially on the east side, too, because, it's just a little bit more removed from the typical places. Like if you go to maybe the Grog shop and stuff, there's kind of a different vibe, I think.
Yeah,
when it comes to the shows, you know what I mean? It's more like a West Side kind of thing. So it was like, well, let's do something that's a little bit more different. That's a reason to come over here, So going on the east side, I think, and then to a brewery and making it more fun and laid back, I thought was a better idea, and everybody was listening, and that's where it came together. It's like, all right, how about a flea market? And then in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I hope Emma's down for this because I have no idea how to run a flea market. Luckily, she was. So, and now she's doing radio shows, so hopefully it wasn't too much bang for her buck there. But yeah.
So Emma, you were mentioning, and maybe go ahead and finish what you were saying about who the vendors are going to be. How many do you have lined up total that'll be there?
Crap, I can't remember offhand. I want to say there's 20 or 25 total. And so we have, like I was saying, we have some of our OGs that come and vend at all of them. We have a couple of bands that are going to be bringing some of their merch. We have Assault is coming, Black Death Resurrected, Dead Earth. And then we also have some local artists who do like horror and macabre art that are going to be setting up. So, and then one of my personal favorites that I have to give personal shout out to is As Above, So Below Bakery. My friend Liz, she makes these incredible decorated cookies, and I believe she's making some that have like metal band logos on them.
Okay.
So that would be cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Get your snack on, get your shopping done, and go check out a band, grab a beer at the bar. It doesn't have to be the Destructor beer, too. So if you're like, I hate IPAs, which some people have been like that.
Yeah.
Why would you choose an IPA? It's like, the guy that's brewing it wanted an IPA. Like, well, let him have his
that was
fun.
the owner, the brewer of Goldhorn. It was his idea to make the Destructor beer an IPA.
So Joel is his name. No, I don't think he's in. I don't know how that goes, but he's the head brewer.
Okay.
Simply put, yeah. And he's a major metal, big metal fan and stuff. And
yeah.
So
Dave was telling me that, and I've had several other beers from Goldhorn that have been heavy metal themed. Like they have the Darkness Remains, which is a Night Demon one.
Yeah.
They have a Maiden one. I think it's called like Maiden ESB, which obviously is Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
They have Mob Rules, which is obviously Black Sabbath. And
that one's
they have a
tasty.
Misfits one and a couple other ones that I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah.
Yeah, they kind of just use their, platform of like when you go to any kind of brew pub, you'll walk in there and they'll have whatever random name that it's just like, and then you read the descriptions like, Jack really loves this. And you're like, I don't know who Jack is and I don't know why I care. But then when you know what I mean? So then when you walk in there, you're like, Mob Rules, like, oh, okay. But then everybody else that walks in there has no idea what Mob Rules
They don't make
even
the
means.
connection that you or I or Emma might be.
Right, and I like that
being
twist.
metal
I love that
fans,
twist. I was at the brewery the other day, and they were jamming Toxic Holocaust. Meanwhile, like, old ladies are walking in there with their dog. And it's like, this is great. You know what I mean? Because when we go everywhere, metal fans, we got to endure the YouTube music, I call it, all that god-awful music that's everywhere else that's just like, this is great, and everybody's got to endure. It's like, no, it's not. And I want somebody more like-minded me that you got to endure what I like. So I felt that presence a lot there I always had a good time there. So I think it's going to be a really cool event, and especially bringing everybody that kind of brings their specialty to it. So, Emma with the flea market stuff, Destructor with obviously there with the music.
So first was the beer release, and then came the idea to add on some bands and have them play. In conjunction with the beer release.
Yeah, kind of. Mostly, I mean, if you're going to go in order of like appropriated purposes, it would be like the Sonic Bullet reissue.
Okay,
secondary to that. And then that was, I think, and that's kind of what shaped maybe the flea or any sort of sale merch kind of idea.
Okay.
And that's where it's like, knowing that like Emma does the flea market thing, it's like, that would actually be cooler because the place is really big too.
Oh yeah, I've been there several times and I've walked around. Yeah, it's just a huge space, so a lot of potential to do some cool things there. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you could be throwing some cornhole in the back or playing some board games. They got an Iron Maiden pinball. They used to have a Terminator 2 pinball. I was excited about that. So then the other day they didn't have it anymore. I'm like, damn. But it's still, it's got good stuff like that. And then, you throw a flea market on top of it and some bands just kind of jamming out in the back. Unless that fell through, it sounds like it's more of like some of the old school Cleveland metal scene guys, like, Siki from Black Death and, Sandy from Sacred Few kind of showing up and maybe you'd be like, hey, come up here and jam this one with us. And, if you started out and Matt Flammable misses an accent on the drums, like, nobody's going to care.
Yeah, it's more of a party, hang out, have fun type of atmosphere.
In fact, it'd probably be better, because it's like, oh, all right, because it's more organic. So, yeah.
And it's also worth mentioning probably that all the sets are going to be kind of short. So I want to say everyone's playing like short 20-minute sets. So it's not going to like drag on all night. And it's over by 6. So you can get a nice day buzz going, go home, get ready for work in the morning.
Yeah.
There's no reason.
Inappropriate.
Well, we're not allowed to do prices, so I had to dump that. But we can say yes on Sundays you can get growler fills, extremely cheaply priced. We could say.
Okay.
We just can't give dollar
Very
amounts.
affordable.
So yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
The price you very well be surprised and hopeful to see for a growler.
And for maybe people, because as Craig and I found out when we went to Iron Maiden in Pittsburgh with a couple other people a few weeks ago.
The opening band was awful?
Well, yeah, but we found out we're both big craft beer fans. Which, I mean, I just never knew that. Like me, you're like really into craft beer.
Yeah, so, I'm not like doing the Winking Lizard World Tour of it, but like, we were just at Southern Tier,
Okay,
I didn't know they had one, so it's like, man, we're gonna be downtown, we got to do this.
Yeah, sure.
We did it.
Hey, I haven't been there yet. How is it, the Southern Tier brew pub?
It was good. I hate paying for parking, but other than that,
Yeah. And there is plenty of free parking around Goldhorn. I know they have they have a pretty big lot across the street. They can have like a smaller lot on the corner.
There's a few things going on. So if you're on, I don't even know what street that is, but like if you do Dead Man's Curve and then like the first exit off of that, when I guess it would help to have directions. So when you're headed east and then do Dead Man's Curve, the first exit off of that, whatever that is, and then when you just go through that, it's like the second light. So then there's like a lot that's like, across that busy road there, and then Goldhorn Brewery's right there. So there's like a front parking lot. And then if you go down like a residential street and do a few things there to hang on a few streets, there's a back parking lot. So there's plenty of parking. But I would like to think that this gig is going so well.
Also.
Yes.
It's
free.
A free event, So there's no cover at the door.
There really are
like
no
that,
excuses.
Like
not
you have
to come.
you have to buy a drink to get access, or nothing like that.
No, nothing like that. No. Show up if you don't want to drink. You don't want to. You're like these vendors suck and these bands are horrible. I'm not spending a dime. You could do that. You stand.
I don't know if you'd have much fun, but yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to have fun at all. Yeah. You could even bring your dog. No, maybe if you're, that was the case. You just brought your dog, and that was just.
Yeah, there's a nice little patio out there too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There's plenty of board games.
Is it dog friendly? Do people bring their dogs? I know some brewers and restaurants these days, that seems to be more of a trend as being pet friendly, at least for dogs.
It's so much that I was like, if there's a mailing list, I'm not on it because I never got that memo.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of dogs there.
Well, just don't bring your dog in the show space when bands are playing, though, because I will give you the stink eye.
Yeah, that's not cool. Yeah, I concur.
No crotch sniffing while you're.
Patio. Bring them inside in between bands.
Yeah. So are the bands going to be playing in the outside like back patio area? Is that where the bands are going to be set up playing then?
In a way, it's hard to describe. Well, I don't know if it's hard to describe. There's a lot of space. I'll just say that much. And there'll be one of the rooms that can very well accommodate for the people that just want to go and hear some music and then step out and refill their beer. So then the people that just want to shop and be undisturbed. So
okay.
And then to the guy that wants to play Battleship and be outside, or the person that wants to walk their dog. There's
Well, let's hear some music by some of these bands. So I guess this band Sleep Lord is going to be kicking things off at 1 p.m.
Cool.
So they just put out a CD a couple months ago on Pure Steel Records called Levels of Perception, and this band features former members of Chemical and Lick the Blade.
Oh, really?
So yeah. Cool. So all right, let's hear a song, second track off their CD, Levels of Perception. This track is called Bigfoot, and then after this, I guess we'll come back on and yak some more. All right, so that was Sleep Lord with the song Bigfoot off of their Levels of Perception album. So they're going to be kicking the event off, I guess, at 1 p.m., the first band. So now, do you know, is 1 p.m. when the doors open? Is that like when the brewery opens on Sunday, or?
Probably open before that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't think 1 p.m. seems like an odd hour to open, so I would imagine that they're open before that, probably 11 a.m. I was there earlier on a Saturday. I'll just say that much.
Okay.
Yep.
Earlier than 1 p.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. So
we were starting off the beer the brewing of the beer, and since I have like a lot of the YouTube stuff going on, we're trying to catch some footage and stuff.
Yeah, I saw some of that stuff you posted. So you actually showed up for the brew session when with the Destructor guys, they were all there too, I think, right?
Yep. So some of the hops were emptied into the tank by the band themselves. It's probably about the most hands-on it's going to get as far as brewing it from the band, but yeah. So it was really cool, and got to hang out with Joel, the master brewer there, and get a bunch of footage and stuff to then kind of put together, because on the YouTube channel, the Reaper Metal Productions YouTube channel, we do regular things. When we were doing a regular show called Heavy Metal Relics, we were doing like little side things called Heavy Metal Cribs, just a total spin-off of the MTV thing.
Okay.
Put some people you actually care about, Vince Neil, I don't care, so on and so forth. Maybe some people do like, screw that guy. But nonetheless, it's like, so, it's when you're at following a band about a metal beer, like I have some questions, like what makes this just any more of a recipe and stuff. So it's like, I thought it would be kind of fun to then really make it more about the brewery. Why would he choose Destructor? Why, like, you know what I mean? Like, because all these bands, everybody's got their merchandise and stuff that they want to be pushing, their beer, their coffee, their pint glasses, so on and so forth. That's like, at the end of the day, sure, some of those other things, be it a puzzle or whatever, it's obvious why you would want that. But a beer or anything that's kind of got a recipe to it, it's like, makes this any different? So it kind of came to the point that it's like, oh, it's more about the brewer and his fandom to metal, and in this case, Destructor. So
yeah, do you know the brewer approached the band with the idea to do the beer? Was it the band's idea and they kind of asked the brewer if they'd be interested, or how? Do you know how that?
I do.
How that part of it came about.
So Dave Overkill was telling me that he works close by, and he was there one day and he heard Night Demon blasting in the other room, and he made it a point to introduce himself. And then Joel, who he met, blasting Night Demon, was, oh wow, you're Dave from Destructor, and there was some sort of connection from there, and then somehow I got lumped into it. It's like, and then sure, I'll come down for some beer. That's not a hard invite. Yeah. Been invited to worse. So it's been really kind of cool in that. And I don't know, I think we went into a lot of this pretty blindly, like it was just strictly a beer, and then my brain's always overthinking things and how you could do cool things with it. So when it was kind of approached to me like, oh, we could get cool footage and all that, I'm starting to think like, all right, well, how is somebody going to want to watch footage about a random beer in Cleveland, And that's kind of where we came up to, follow it along, do like a cribs, like I said, and then do some do some promotion from the band to even talk about the event, and then the event itself came to kind of. It came to form way more than what you would probably what at least I thought we would have come up with, and it sounds pretty cool to me. If I wasn't so deeply involved in trying to put it on, I'd be coming out.
You just still want to just attend as a fan, even if you weren't involved in putting the event on. Yeah.
So anybody else that's got something, they're like, man, how do we make this different? Take this idea and steal it. Because who wants to stand around at a sweaty gig all the time? Like make it a little bit less like. Well, like how many times have you been to a fest or something? It's all day and it's like.
Well, I went to the fest you guys put on, and it was 3 days.
Oh, the Hells Headbangers Fest? Yeah, well, that one was, and that was, I guess, maybe where some of that thought process came from, was like, But
I'm not knocking it, though. I mean, it was a great fest you guys put on. I enjoyed it very much,
and
both
maybe,
years. But
anyways, that's part of the process, is that, like, a lot of that is honestly, a big credit to my brother Eric, who was really thinking about a lot of, like, how do you up the bar of this? Mm-hmm. Like, because you're at a fest. So, like, how many times have you been to a fest or just a show where it's like, let me mark your hands. Let me give you this bracelet that you got to wear that's annoying as hell. And you can't re-enter. You can never leave this place. Like, dude, I got to be here for 8. Like, what is this, work? And what I mean? Yeah. And if you've done a production job standing on concrete all day, that's a sore back. So you might as well be pounding some beers and sitting on an uncomfortable bar stool. So, Like, so how do you make that more fun if you're going to be there all day? And that's one of my thoughts to it anyway. And one of the attempts. So.
Well, let's see. So who is the second band playing? So we've got, and I know I've got.
I'm glad
got
you
it on
know.
My list here, yeah.
I didn't know. I knew.
So we've got
Destructor and Black Death.
Sleep Lord kicks it off at 1 p.m. and then I guess Black Death at 1:40.
Yeah.
But I don't have the Black Death CD in front of me.
Well,
I forgot to bring my copy, so I've got to go grab ours from the stacks here.
Sure.
So
should I ramble in the process?
Well, how about we'll skip back to the third band then, which is, I guess, Dave Overkill and Matt Flammable's other band.
Oh, Vulgar Devils.
Is also playing, yeah. And I think those guys are working on some new stuff. I think they should have a new record ready to go pretty soon.
Well, when I was at the brewery a few weeks ago when they started the beer, they were playing an instrumental rough mix.
Okay.
And Dave was saying, I think it was like 4 songs in, so they had to get all that knocked out. And anybody that's ever been a part of an album, can be a tedious little process just to lay down a few minute songs, But yeah, they're working. I mean, needless to say, whatever they're doing, they're working diligently on it.
And I'm looking forward to seeing them, because it's been a while since I've seen Vulgar Devils play out. Probably like about a year at this point since I actually last caught them. So,
oh, really?
Looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah, they had a few lineup changes
down. Yeah.
It was sounding cool. What I heard on the rough mix.
Cool. Well, hopefully they'll play a couple of those songs on Sunday. Some of those new ones.
Yeah, probably.
So let's hear something off of their first album that came out. When did this come out? About 3 years ago now, on Pure Steel Records.
Was it 3? I think it was longer than that.
Well, my CD here says 2016 is a copyright date on the back.
Well, I'll stand corrected. Or uninformed in the first place, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was late 2015 it came out.
Yeah, it could
Actually, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But all right, so let's hear track number 3 off of here called For the Kill. And I do want to thank Emma for also calling in. She said goodbye when we were playing that Sleep Lord. But I want to thank her for calling in and
she was
talking about
sleep.
her part in this.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So,
that's above and beyond the call of duty. I'm glad she called in. And,
So we'll hear Vulgar Devils with track number 3, For the Kill. All right, so that was Vulgar Devils with, what did I play? Track number 3, For the Kill, off their Temptress of the Dark album from 2016 on Pure Rock Records, which I guess is like a sub-label of Pure Steel.
Oh, it's Pure Rock.
It actually says, Pure Rock.
All right.
But it's like a sub-label, but yeah.
I guess that's
the more rock-oriented version of Pure Steel. I don't know.
Well, what was the Steel version of Pure Steel? I didn't know. I only kind of knew it for the kind of more rock and heavy metal aspect.
Hey, you got me, yeah.
Oh, okay. They got a fest coming up here though in Cleveland.
It's the third one. Yeah,
so what's their affinity to like Cleveland? I didn't really know much about the label. You kind of just hear about it.
I mean, I kind of just heard about them a couple of years ago. I think when who's the band? Sunless Sky put out an album on that label. That was probably 6-7 years ago now. I remember it was the album release show at the Agora. Black Death also played, a couple other bands.
Yeah.
So I picked up the CD. I'm like, oh, Pure Steel. It's a German label. And I guess for whatever reason, the guy who runs this label in Germany likes Cleveland metal. And it's more, the traditional sounding, new British heavy metal sounding stuff. But he's...
Or at least the bands he's choosing.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole spectrum
for the bands that he signs from Cleveland, it's more of that more traditional style. But yeah, so who's on that label? I mean, Destructor's last album came out on that label. And then like Axemaster, Sunless Sky, Wretch. And actually the Sleep Lord I just played also on Pure Steel. Yeah, so that guy likes Cleveland heavy metal bands, I guess. I think Juan from Sunless Sky, Juan Ricardo, I think works for them now. I think he runs their U.S. distribution now, or like their U.S. office or whatever. I'm pretty sure. So,
I didn't realize that was one of Juan's bands. I knew more so of Juan's bands, Dark Arena.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And then there was you remember Decimation?
Oh
Jim Labucci from Solos.
Yeah.
So quick story, Juan was living or somewhere. An apartment I lived in Strongsville. He was always like, I would always run into him in the parking lot going in my car.
Okay.
And at one point, it was like right around the time, maybe not even that, but I had, because I reissued or ever collected the Decimation discography on
Oh, did you put out that CD that came out like 10 years ago that's got all the demos on it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Been 10 years or
More than that now, I think.
But,
yeah.
and I had one maybe, and it definitely wasn't that time then. So it was definitely late after the fact. And I had a copy and I gave it to him, you know. I didn't know if he'd be into it. And so he gets it, and I'm like, I'm in the parking lot. It was kind of the oddest spot to be kind of talking about this, because like he's in the midst of his car and it's like I'm like kind of in the front seat, you know, the door's open, and he's like, I'm pretty sure I was in this band. It's like, how do you not know you were in that band or not? But okay. He's like, well, it sounds familiar because there's that one part, and like he starts singing it Juan style, you know, high pitched vocals and stuff. I'm like, that doesn't sound like it works at all, but it sounded pretty awesome. You know, so I only hear the Lapucci version, you know, the more thrash version. So I don't know. I think I did ask. You know Jim, right?
Oh yeah, Jim Lapucci.
Yeah,
of course.
yeah,
yeah.
I think I did ask him, like, do you know if Juan was in Decimation? I don't remember what the answer was. Yeah, there's some mystique surrounding the whereabouts of who's been in the band or not. I guess so.
Yeah, but I know he's kind of going back to what you were saying about the fest, and we were talking about then the Hells Headbanger Fest before. We talked about that a little bit. Juan is putting on that Pure Steel Fest. Yeah, so that's the first weekend in November. So like right after Halloween at the Foundry, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So yeah.
Wow. So
yeah, 3-day fest. Yeah.
Wow. Who's all playing it? Like I don't even know if I know that many.
I know one of the headlining bands is like Hounds of Hasselvander. You know Joe Hasselvander, who played with Pentagram.
Yeah.
So that's his band after Pentagram. I know they're one of the headliners.
Hounds of Hasselvander. Like I thought that band was like, because they were longest time on that German, much smaller. Like, well, I don't know, smaller, but Iron Pegasus Records.
Yeah. Well, not every band that plays a Pure Steel Fest is on the label. Okay. A lot of them are, but it's kind of like Hells Headbangers. You had some bands play your festival that were not on the label. But the idea
was to keep it as much in-house as possible.
But a lot of those bands had some kind of affiliation with your label, or maybe you guys handled their distribution, right?
Yeah.
So I think probably a similar thing with this Pure Steel Fest.
Okay.
It's sort of the idea behind it, in that regard.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, and I'm definitely thinking in those like in-house terms. But that's cool.
But probably 75% of the bands are actually Pure Steel bands. But they'll get a couple other bands to play that aren't necessarily on the label.
Yeah. A lot of my thinking like how I'm so clueless about that label is like, because it is through like everything that comes through Hell's Headbangers, like the fingers that go on it first are mine. So like. Pure Steel isn't one of those packages that's coming monthly or weekly or
well, maybe you should hit them up and see if they want to.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they're really down for that kind of business. Like, so a lot of not that Hell's Headbangers is run that way, and I certainly don't run Reaper Metal like that either. Where like you do a lot of trades and stuff. So if you have a release,
I know Hells. You guys still do a lot of trades, and you guys get some really cool stuff that I imagine is probably stuff you just get through trades. I go on your website and. I'll be like, I'll buy this, or the next show they'll be vending at. I'm like, I hope they have this release, or I'll ask Chuck to grab it for me and bring it. So yeah, you guys get some really cool stuff with the trades.
And it's because it's kind of like that, I guess Walmart of metal attitude. But like, so it's so like Pure Steel. It just doesn't seem like they run their business like that, where they're doing trades. Like it's like, why would I do that? Or because your next step is to then distribute it, be it through like consignment. Like to give you a short and sweet of it. If not that he even needed it, but like if you're going to like FYE or something in the store, like a lot of that's gonna be like your bigger distributions, like Sony and one of their divisions. They take a bunch of copies that they then like send all about, and those people that have it, they can return it. So like a lot of like the payment isn't like a pure buy and trade kind of thing. Okay. Where like, so a lot of Hell's Headbangers distribution was like trading it for something else, or you just flat out bought it. And so I think Pure Steel is like operating in a different way. And so like as far as my vocabulary of hearing of all these labels and stuff, That's kind of probably why I don't know
It's
so
not
much about
quite in
them.
your realm of things.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we don't really get so much from them. Because, you know, not to put any of those bands down, some of it isn't totally like that niche that we're more on the extreme side of stuff. And a lot of that
For
stuff.
a lot of the bands that
Yeah.
that you sign on, Hells Headbangers and
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, like Embalmer, speaking of a Cleveland
Oh,
band.
yeah.
You know, that's a
Great
that's
band,
a far
one of my
cry,
favorites,
though,
yeah.
from some of that stuff. You know
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean? So,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've seen Embalmer share the stage with like Sunless Sky or a band like that.
Oh,
you know,
really?
oh yeah, for sure. You know, definitely, especially like at some of the the Bill Peters Food Drive show. You know,
Oh, okay,
he'll have Embalmer
yeah.
on, and then a band like Night Demon, who played one of them, or Midnight, or
Right.
Ratch or Sunless Sky or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I love about Cleveland too, is there's so many different styles of metal just in this town, and when you go quite often, you can go see a bill and it's kind of diverse. Like the bands aren't always necessarily like of the same subgenre or two of metal. You can have like a power metal band and like a grindcore band, or that's
Yeah.
cool. I love that kind of thing because I like all those different styles of metal myself. So,
I think it's the layout
yeah.
that kind of makes that happen. Because if you really think about it, actually, I was talking the other day about, you remember that band Odious Sanction?
Yeah, sure.
Wherever they were from, that was kind of the conversation. Like I thought they were from like Akron. And then I was like, no, they're from more like Warren Heights or something. I was like, where is that? And
Yeah.
so
I think
it's kind of the area is just so diverse that like the greater Cleveland area could be Medina. It could even
for
be
sure.
Akron, which they would want to separate themselves as being their own city then.
Yeah, yeah.
But then it could be so many other places, and I think a city and its surroundings have a lot to do with styles of music and interests.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's the thing where like something like L.A. or New York, like it's just hustle and bustle, so you kind of maybe only get what's going to be a bread cutter because they're trying to make it or something. Mm-hmm. So.
All right. Well, I got to pause for a second and just let everybody know that you are tuned into WCSB Cleveland, 89.3 FM. All right. Well, I got some Black Death queued up now, so let's hear
Sure.
that. And then
Original.
Yeah, I got the original vinyl. Yeah, we've got your reissue up here somewhere in the CD stacks. I couldn't find it, but I knew we have the original pressing, Auburn Records, 1984, and
Switch it up a bit.
yeah.
Give
I
it
haven't pulled out this copy and played it in a while. I hope it sounds good, but we'll find out. And then after that, we'll come back on the air maybe and talk specifically about the Destructor and the reissues you're doing. And that we haven't talked about that yet. So we'll hear some Black Death and we'll come back on and talk about that.
Cool.
Get up off your seats, lock your doors and keep your parents out, and turn your music up.
All right, so Black Death with the opening track from their album there, Night of the Living Dead, right? Yeah. So
I saw a guy wearing a shirt of that today.
Oh, okay.
The movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was cool.
So
We were talking about remastering.
yeah, because you guys, of course, you did the Black Death. The end of 2017 that came out. Yeah, you guys.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Reissued that album and
You're around with
So-
that last head bash and the pre-show that I think Black Death played like the Shadow Kingdom pre-show on the Thursday. That was
the first head bash.
Was it?
Yeah, 'cause I remember I
was
missed
the second?
I missed the pre-show that year. Well, it was the first year head bash was like a full.
Yeah,
because the
like
first
at a
year you guys
venue.
just did the.
It was at
the
a
smaller
at
miniature
the
warehouse. Yeah.
one of the warehouses in the complex is not Hell's particular warehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little bit more preoccupied with having a child at the time. So
Oh, okay.
So some of it's a little hazy. So if you're listening on the other end, how does this guy not know? That's kind of why. But
Okay.
yeah. So, but yeah, that's it's really cool that like these, just these old bands. It's really the age of of reissue. Like I've said it so many times to people that are like, honestly, if you got 1980 whatever in your vocabulary of like when this band came out, like you but yet nobody's ever heard of it because it's that obscure. Like you've got something there though, because like I don't know, it just seems like people are really interested in hearing obscure bands from back in the day that they maybe or may not have heard of, or better yet, have heard of, and now they can not have to jam their now degrading, very loud, hissy demo tape version and get the one where, you know, the guy cleaned it up and brought this really powerful recording up front and beyond the hiss. So
Beyond the hiss, I like that. Yeah, go beyond the hiss.
Yes, that'll be a band coming on Pure Steel. Beyond the hiss.
So, all right. So, I wanted to talk specifically about these Destructor issues that you did. Of course, back in May or April, Maximum Destruction came out. So you did the first album with just a boatload of pretty awesome bonus tracks in my opinion.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So how did that come together with you hooking up with the Destructor guys to?
You really want a
put that
long
out,
story,
yeah.
don't you?
Why not?
Okay, well, I'll try to keep this as short as possible because it's very much no, I'm still kind of surprised. Well, honestly, just to come together and bring a reissue about, I don't know if that was such a long story that it was just, you know, at some point, you know, I got in touch with Dave. He came down. Well, that's what it was. You know, you were talking about Bill Peters' food drive. You know Iron Ingo, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
From Germany.
Yeah.
So he was in town for one, whatever it was, for whatever he comes downtown. I don't know him that well, so I don't really know why he comes down and how that connection's made.
He met Bill Peters in 2000. The first time Bill Peters went over to Wacken with Breaker. And I don't know, maybe him and Ingo had been pen pals before that.
Okay.
But I know that's the first time they met, and Ingo was like a fan of Breaker and, you know, the old Auburn band. So
yeah.
Ingo, I guess like a lot of Germans, were really excited, you know, that Breaker was going over to play a fest, and they kind of just kept up a friendship. And then I'm not sure exactly how it turned into Ingo coming here like once a year, once every other year to kind of co-host the Food Drive benefit show, but somehow that happened.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. I like that, you know, and like you, especially when it's like across the globe like that. But so anyway, he was in town for that, and you know, I didn't know anything about it because the phone just rang. You know, the Hells Headbangers phone, which is my duty to answer, and it was like, "Hey, Iron Ingo's in town. Who?" And he wants to come down. I was like, anybody that wants to come down during business hours is very welcome. So he came down, and I forget, and he came down twice, but it wasn't like in the same visit. So maybe I got a few years rough. But the point matters that at one point Dave brought him down.
Okay.
And that was where it was like I really kind of had an undisturbed moment to talk to him. I met him time and time, but never really
he's a wealth of knowledge, diehard heavy metal fan. You know,
was that Dave or Ingo?
Well, probably both of them. But Ingo, oh yeah, I mean, for underground,
he's awesome.
Yeah, 80s power traditional metal stuff. I know that's kind of what he likes the most. But
he was. Oh my God, I think we could have put him in debt if we really encourage and put on like the sleazy car salesman thing for some metal records. Like, Ingo, you need this one, you know?
Yeah.
But so anyway, so Dave was there for that, and you know, Ingo's doing his shop, and meanwhile we're kind of talking, and that's where I think the initiation was made. Maybe Dave was planning it all out wrong. He's like, I hear about this stupid place. I got to see if it's legit or something. And apparently he must have been impressed enough. These guys got what things going on well enough to, run an operation. But then I kind of got more and more engulfed. Personally, like doing because at some point, like Dave, I think that if I have my memory correct, like Dave was talking about I want to make some videos and do like a YouTube channel and stuff. I was like, well, you're talking to the right guy, but I don't know if I got time to sit there and yak your ear off about it because I very well could. And so I was like, maybe instead of doing that, why don't I do this channel called Heavy Metal Relics at the time. Which has now since become like a show on Reaper Metal Productions. And so it was like, oh, it'd be cool to like maybe do some stuff with you and stuff, and so that's kind of where it came about. Where he's, you know,
and I know you guys did a Destructor episode, yeah.
Yeah. So he came down to our original setup there, and then that was where it kind of started to grow from there. Like, so at one point it was like, you know, we got like, it's funny because like the logo for Heavy Metal Relics is like the H, the M, the R, and when you spell out the whole word, but because there's an icon and then there's the logo, like a friend of mine like drew all that and based every letter around like a classic band's letter of their logo. So, but then when you make the icon of it, you know, you take the H, the M, and R, but then there's like this, you know, wing bat skull that, you know, most people like just, I think now associate it as the Heavy Metal Relics guy. And really, I just stole it from Overkill. Like, that was the demo version of the Overkill wing. Or what is his name? I think his name is Charlie, or am I thinking of Motorhead on that one? But whatever his name is.
Motorhead is Snaggletooth, but yeah.
So, okay. So I don't know where I got that then. But nonetheless, it's, you know, so the wing guy skull. And so, you know, we had that, and Dave one day was like, hey, I got like this skull thing, and it was like a drum. There was like the mount of a bass drum, and he's like, if I spray paint that yellow, because that was kind of the color of the show, the channel at the time, like we would have a kind of a reminiscent skull of that guy, and it really did look kind of like it. And it turned out it was actually just like the drum head that I think he made it, or maybe Sean Vanek. Somebody, but it was inevitably it was a part of Manimals at one point.
Okay, yeah.
So it was really cool because it was like, oh, here's like a piece that I just thought was junk in his garage, but it was a heavy metal relic of its own, you know. So then, you know, we set up shop in his basement, and then we did a series of videos, and then he just strung that thing up and put it in the background. And then it was like, hey, I could have Siki come down. I was like, I don't know Siki that was. Oh, he's a trip. You got to wait until he's on camera.
I've had him on here a couple of times. Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we did those videos and stuff. And, you know, we started to up the guest factor of the show. And, but like, you know,
you did some non-Cleveland bands too, right?
Yeah, we were doing that originally. That was more of our Cribs thing.
Okay, yeah.
And then at a point, it just kind of became like, you know, well, I podcast, I got releases, then I got this Heavy Metal Relics show. So then that was like, well, why don't we make this more of like a TV station? And then these are like shows on it. And that's kind of how the Reaper Metal Productions thing came about back around. Because there was always Reaper Metal Records before all that.
That's right. Okay.
And so that's kind of where I started putting the bug in the Dave's ear that was like, you know, because it was kind of going in the direction like have Hells Headbangers do the Destructor stuff. But it was like, you know,
That's right. It was originally announced that Hells Headbangers was going to reissue Maximum Destruction. Yeah, probably like, 2 years ago or something, I remember.
Yeah, it was some years. And it was like, well, the guy that's kind of honing in a lot of this, be it like, where's the master? What are the bonus tracks? And all this stuff that really adds that fan knowledge.
Enhancing the package,
Yeah, is all kind of coming from me. And it's like, and then we've got this platform that you're on, like it kind of would seem confusing to people to then like kind of be of Hell's roster where, you know, you're putting out release after release, and not that that's bad. I just had a different vision because it's like, well, it's a reissue. So it's got more of, there's so many things you could do with it that's different than a new album release. You know, a new album release, it's like, okay, you're releasing a single and then you want to get people to review it. Like
you have a video or whatever.
Like you're not going to have somebody review a 30-some-year-old album. So like, how do you promote a reissue other than saying, this is great, do you remember this band? Well, oh, you don't? Well, it's great, buy it. You know what I mean? So like, how do you do that? And I think I had those ideas, and because of that involvement, I that's why I advised to kind of have it go this way, and I must have not have been full of it because that one thing led to another, and here we are.
On reissue number 2, yeah.
Yeah, which I'm really stoked though that it did go that way, because like, especially for Maximum, like Dave had this like full-on photo album. And it's like, unless you are like hanging out at the guy's house or like, you know, have a Mexican with them or whatever, like you wouldn't know this stuff. You wouldn't know that those things are, and maybe not so much like bands don't always know that this would be cool to use for a layout or something. Not everybody has like some artistic vision, and I'm always thinking about that stuff.
Yeah, and then working for Hells Headbangers and then having your own label, so you kind of approach it more with that mindset to like put out the package to present it in a way that appeals to fans or like make it look cooler, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, like, man, you got a full-on photo album, and then like on the back panel there were like 4. It was already like put together like the best CD booklet you could have. Only you don't even have to do the whole collage thing in Photoshop and like fake it like it was really a collage. Like, this is a collage. And then at the back of the book, it had 4 photos, each member with their own photo that I've never seen before from the Maximum Destruction era, and then it was all signed. So then that was really cool because, unfortunately, Pat Rabbit was no longer with us, and Dave Holocaust definitely was no longer with us. So to like have their signatures and stuff, like that was like just that panel alone, and like, man, we could use this in the booklet was like, I'm glad I pushed for this because, we probably wouldn't have known that all along. And I don't know, maybe Dave wouldn't have thought to bring it forward. Maybe he forgot about it. Who knows, And I think that would have really kind of not have amplified the reissue to some of the coolest levels it could have been,
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. And then now we're on Sonic Bullet with with a different cover.
Yeah. So whose idea was it to change the cover art for Sonic Bullet? Because Maximum Destruction, of course, you left the original cover, but this is completely different than the original version that came out in 2002 when Auburn put it out originally?
2003.
Oh, 2003. Okay, but yeah.
It was collectively everybody that was ever involved in Destructor and then got involved, myself, newly involved. Everybody pretty much agreed that should happen.
Okay.
And I definitely thought it should happen I pretty much foreseen who was going to be taking on putting this together. And it's like, I don't know, like the other, no slight against, the efforts of anybody previously when it came to the original, but like the original cover was very much, in my eyes, a product of the time, 2003. It looked like a Photoshop generated like art. You get like a real piece of fire, a real piece of, the Destructor logo on that like looks like it's a piece of steel. Yeah. It's very like everything's very picture-esque. I thought it would be really cool. That's like, all right, well, if we need to have a new cover and the band's willing to do so, how's this for an idea? By the time we chewed on it, it's like, what if you actually depicted the bullet where the original really only just had fire? That's not really a sonic bullet as it is a heavy explosion.
Yeah.
But whatever, it worked. But then that's like, all right, well, Destructor kind of has a theme going here. And it seemed to have been dialed in from Maximum Destruction when you looked at the back, that Maximum Destruction, like kind of skull planet head guy.
Yeah.
And then the fact that it even had like a subtitle logo. So there's the Maximum Destruction logo. Then there's a band logo. It's very much like kind of an 80s thing to do. And I thought that was really cool. And it really didn't repeat. And then with their latest album, Decibel Casualties, they did have that skull guy.
They brought him back, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he even is so much that he had the planet Earth, but then he was ripped and he had muscles, and he was serving the presentation of that album. That it's like, all right, well, now that we're doing a reissue, so your second album, like, why don't we do that? Because then I was looking back at like Forever in Leather and the LP version, the third album. Mm-hmm. On the LP version, there's a panel of the CD or the LP booklet that's just a piece of leather, and it is the Maximum Destruction skull version of him, only black and white, and he's like put on there, but he's made to look like he's like a punk, painted in leather, like on the back of their jacket. So, oh, how cool is that? Forever in Leather, you know what I mean? He's painted on leather. Then it's like, all right, well, you got it dialed in on Maximum Destruction. You got it probably, more of just a mistake that you were representing this theme when it came to the Forever in Leather vinyl, and then he's on Decibel Casualties. Like, what if we kept filling in those blanks? And so put him on a bullet, put his face on a bullet.
And here he is on the cover here.
Yeah, and then those candles that like Pat Rabbit's holding, I think Matt Flammable's got one, or maybe it's like buy them on the Maximum Destruction cover. It's definitely on the back of the LP. Those candles, though, then like those skull candles, those are the 3 candles that are then in the flames there on the cover of that new artwork.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
kind of behind the bullet. I see.
Yeah, and then because they were reused on the original CD of Sonic Bullet, they were those candle guys are there as well. Okay, so they're already like everybody was already thinking of this. So it was like, oh, but nobody like really like pushed it. I guess I don't know, like, but so I want to push it anyway.
Feel like you completed the vision, then, so to say, or like taking it to its next level, or whatnot. Yeah,
I mean, I definitely at least painted it that way. Okay, and I think we got something really cool out of it. You know. At least, and if you own the original CD and you get this,
I do, but I'm gonna have to pick this one up too. Yeah.
Well, I could. It could be a long story explaining why the track listing's slightly different on this one.
Well, how about we play a couple tunes? Maybe then we can come back.
Yeah, you might want to. You might be some guys like probably falling asleep behind the wheel right now. So yeah.
So let's hear track number 2 off of here, which was one of my favorite Destructor songs, "Heavy Artillery." Which
great choice.
Yeah. I've probably seen Destructor like 30 times at this point or something like that. And this is one, they've only seen them play this one live a small handful of times. So they don't pull this one out too often, but I do like this one a lot. So
it's very much in their theme too.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
It's an anthem, I guess.
So here's Destructor with Heavy Artillery. All right, so that was Destructor with Heavy Artillery.
Goes out to Alphanar.
All right, Alphanar, okay.
Yeah. Some people might get that joke. Or even know who that is.
Maybe he's listening, though.
Maybe, yeah. Well, so what? He knows the joke, too. But, yeah. So, yeah, Heavy Artillery, though. That's I was telling you that my favorite song off that is Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Then it was wondered if, on the sidelines, if Destructor plays songs off that album live, and they do.
Yeah.
Because I remember that was like the thing, you know, when, like, I'm younger to have not have like seen them, you know, back in the day.
Yeah,
when, like, it was big label kind of thing
here,
for them.
Yeah.
And
although I did see their first show in '99.
Oh, really?
They played a Bill Peters WJC benefit at the Odeon in the spring of 1999. It was like they played and the Manimals played. Yeah, so it was like those two bands, you know, like their first show in like 10 years or whatever. So yeah, so
that's pretty cool.
I got to see those, but I never saw them back in the day, obviously.
My most notable Destructor gig would be Matt Flammable's 50th birthday at the Beachland. I remember being at that and I'm like, man, this guy's 50. And I wish he was. He probably thinks he wish he was 50 now. Like those were the days. But that was a while ago. But it was really cool because that was when Jamie Boulder was in the band and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I remember like
Pat was still with them.
Was that
Pat was still with them then? Too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like basically, you know, the second division classic lineup.
Yeah. For sure.
It was cool just because like that was before I really kind of knew Jamie personally. I knew who he was.
Yeah.
Mostly just as the Destructor bass player. You know, then I was like, well, no, that like he's in Boulder and stuff.
Yeah.
And then somewhere along the lines, it was like more so like a friend of mine knew him and was like hanging out with him, doing like I don't know, like what's that guitar game that people play.
Guitar Hero?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the game that I'm like, why don't we just play guitar instead? But so like there, I guess like I'm going over to Jamie's, we're gonna play Guitar Hero. I was like, I thought Jamie likes the instrument better, but then maybe I got it all wrong. But eventually, then got more in touch with them and got involved with one of his bigger, more successful bands, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever band that may be, but
I think most people out there listening probably know, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I try to protect that secrecy anymore. You never know, and it's always funny when like somebody like because I think like especially when it came to like this event and it's like trying to promote it. It's like as far as my reach, it's like I'm utilizing the internet, so it's like you got like a worldwide audience at that point where it's like I don't know about talking about a Cleveland event if that's really going to help some guy in Germany or Finland or whatnot.
Yeah.
So through that, like when you have people that run into Jamie or wonder who he is through this band that hopefully people know what I'm talking about. Like it'll be like that's what he looks like, or that's the band. Like I wasn't picturing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's It's just kind of funny because it's like I don't I know I just know Jamie.
Yeah.
Like when's the next poker party? Hopefully we'll be coming over, like kind of thing, stuff like that. So, but yeah, and a lot when it came to
I wonder if maybe Jamie will be there. Maybe he'll like.
I was told. I asked him.
That'd be cool.
I texted him.
Yeah.
I reconfirmed what the date was.
Okay, yeah.
He's a busy man. He's traveling the world doing some stuff.
Yeah.
He's been informed numerous times, so if he doesn't show up...
He's well aware of this event on Sunday, yeah.
I don't know if he's well, but I think he's aware.
Okay.
And we'll try to make him well aware. Maybe in the next few days, everybody...
There you go,
We'll get you texting him, I'll text him, Dave will text him, Matt will text him, we'll get a few other people.
Charles, from my mind's eye.
Yeah.
I don't know if Charles texts, though, yeah.
I can see Charles not texting. I don't. There's I didn't even run into Charles. I wonder if he would be there.
If he's not working at his store, maybe he'll show up, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He'll come in the after hours and because that is the vision of Charles I've got at a show. Like it'll always be like kind of late because he just closed at the store and then all of a sudden like you'll just be like, look, oh, Charles is here, and then he's on the side, raging. So Charles has a radio show, right?
He did for a while on WREW. It was one of my favorite shows. Yeah, Splatter Rock. He was on like the late 90s, I think up until like 2006, 2007. So unfortunately, he hasn't done it in a while. But yeah, what a great show that was on WREW. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites on that station when he was on.
Which, since he's been brought up, like honestly, I think it's fun because, so we're Sonic Bullet reissue. Well, another project where I'll admit it, the source of the audio, like we didn't have tapes, we didn't have all this stuff, and I won't get into that because I could blab about it for hours. I'm an audio nerd, but like of why that doesn't always mean it'll be better if you had like source tapes and whatnot. So anyway,
because people tend to think whatever tape the album was laid down on originally, of course, is going to be the best. So when you remaster, you want to do it from the original source.
Right.
I think like me as a fan, that's always been my understanding. It sounds like that's not always the case, and you understand that being an audio engineer. But for somebody like me, of course, you think that's probably going to be the best.
I would
in
very
most
well.
cases,
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like sit there and try to debunk you, or what I would. Well, maybe I would, but I would just be nerdy enough to sit there and yak your ear off on every aspect of why that could not be. So a simple story of it, though, is that it wasn't so, and we had to get the audio from a CD, and that CD was my copy of Sonic Bullet that I got at my mind's eye.
Okay.
So I think that's just kind of cool because I'm sure somebody like Charles who loves Destructor and is a music metal nerds, just so on, that even he would find value in like how what I mean, like it's just kind of is that one little small intricate detail that's like it's kind of cool when you think about it. That's
for sure.
Here's like this fan that just went in there because I don't know if I remember it like it was yesterday, but I do know that I got my CD from him. And like it was a moment of like, I saw Destructor live only at that point. Like maybe they had the CD, but they didn't have it where I bought it from them at their merchandise stand. They sure as heck didn't have Maximum Destruction, and that was it at the point. You know, they didn't have a third album.
Yeah,
so it was like, I like this band, but there's nothing to buy. I can't get it anywhere. And you know, eBay, whatever, the internet to access these things were different at the time. And if it was the same, it was at least pricey.
Now,
so going in my mind's eye and like stumbling, oh my God, he's got it. You know, now I can finally own Destructor music. You know, it's just kind of fun that's how it all came together. You know,
for sure.
So he indirectly and unaware played a big part
in this reissue.
Yeah.
That's a cool story,
hopefully.
So, I guess what's kind of next for your label, for Metal Reaper?
Reaper
are you
Productions.
doing any more reissues? Or are you looking at signing some new bands, or putting out some new albums? Or
yes,
I mean, and obviously you also work for Hells Headbangers and run that with your brother, so you're very involved in that aspect of things, I'm sure, with that label. So. But but just kind of for your own label, what are your plans for Metal Reaper going forward?
So, the next month, like, because every month there's a release, and
so you're trying to do one release every month, okay?
Yeah.
So Destructor was what, April or May? So maybe what are some of the other recent releases that came out?
I'll tell you the whole year.
Issue, yeah.
No, well, yeah. Well, so Destructor was in May, and then after that was a band from Pittsburgh called Lady Beast.
I remember.
And that was kind of a reissue thing.
That. Okay.
Yeah, I did not set out to like be focused on reissues, but it just kind of happened that way. And so Lady Beast was a more recent catalog that when I got it, the release I have done was a reissue of sorts, because there was just that catalog and like that stuff, the original pressings of it. Like, it was basically a collection of their first 3 releases onto one set.
Okay.
Because I was more so getting involved to do their next album. And their next album is taking, they're taking more time with it, which is entirely fine.
Next year sometime, probably?
Probably at this point. Like, they were hoping for this summer and stuff, and, you know.
Yeah, things happen, you know,
And fine by me. I need time. So, I did that, and then, was it? Yeah, it was Lady Beast, and so kind of took a month off from the Lady Beast because, it was May. It was in April. There was this Scottish band called Hell Ripper, and they are doing very well for themselves. Got to play with Midnight, one of their heroes, when Midnight came over to Europe this last time, and because it's because the dude that does that band, it's kind of just a one-man band when it comes to the records, and then he has a band live, so he's very much Midnight in spirit in that way.
Yeah. Okay.
And and one of the ways that I like to try to promote stuff, because I have a podcast, because I have a YouTube channel and all this stuff, I like to approach it from a fan aspect and like do fan kind of content with it. You know, maybe interview the guys, but like, you know, do a different kind of interview. Like, maybe we'll talk about certain things that just, I don't know, what I could maybe find interesting. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I've done numerous things like that. That's like, you know, Midnight's in Europe, and it's like I get a text, and it's like, dude, I met, you know, Athanar.
Yeah.
It's about to tell who the guy behind the mask was, because everybody doesn't know.
You got to catch yourself.
So that was it. But that was in April. Then the Destructor, May, Lady Beast. I keep going over this. So then nothing, I guess, in August anyway. What was in July? I can't even think. But there was something. Sorry to that band. No, that was going. So I'm drawing a blank, but I know coming up here is going to be a black, are you familiar with the band Impaled Nazarene from Finland?
Oh, sure, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so they kind of sound like that. So it's kind of like black metal with some like punk infused in there. So this band, they're called Vomit Angel. It's with a W. So I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that as part, if there's a Finnish part to it.
I found your catalog page here on Metal Archives.
Right.
To help us
We're
out.
authenticated. So that'll be next month. So it'll be kind of a turn for the style here that's been kind of thrashed.
Vomit Angel, that'll be for October.
Release, okay. Which was actually supposed to be a July release. But because because of that whole like trying to do like content and ways to promote it, because like for them that's their brand new album, and it's like, well, what are we gonna do? Like, here's the single you should be excited about but aren't excited about because it's a band you never heard of. You know what I mean? So like, how do you make somebody care?
It's a finished band, it looks like.
Or at least intrigued, you know, without just playing the music. Like, it's 2019. Like, we got YouTube auto-recommending stuff, and if you don't like it in the first 10 seconds, you're gone, you know what I mean? Like, you just...
That's a world we live in sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm like, my thought process is being aware of that, and, like, how do we make this band become... at least slightly interesting. So it's like, so with them.
And because I remember when we were on the way to Iron Maiden, you were kind of talking about how, you know, 10, 15 years ago, people were saying, oh, you know, digital downloading, that's going to be like the death of the record industry.
Oh, yeah.
And you told me that your approach, kind of running your own label and with your marketing, is very different. And you actually kind of embrace all these new opportunities thanks to, you know, what digital technology has become, and how you approach the marketing for your label and the bands you work with.
Yeah, for sure.
So
because there's so much opportunity. Like, you got to be clueless to sit there and think that, like, it's dead and it's destroyed. Like, if you're sitting there right now or nearly crashed your car when I told you it wasn't, listening to me say that, like, you're uninformed. You don't understand how it works. You need to get hit, man, because you're not doing yourself a favor. And that's what it does, is it does you a lot of favors. You just got to learn how to do it. And when you do, it's just a lot of work, and it's tedious, but it's easy, and it's ridiculous. And it's something as simple as, if you're going to post your music on YouTube, YouTube's like the #2 search engine in the world. Well, then think about that as a library.
Hey.
Yeah. After Google, the company that owns them. So imagine you're here in the WCW, the WCSB library looking for a record. Look, how is it going to be somewhere where you can find Black Death? It's going to be categorized probably, but definitely it's going to be alphabetized.
Yeah.
Well, then now think about that as a YouTube video, and you're the guy uploading a band. Well, you can manipulate the wording of that to be something that now is worded to then where the metal fans are going to find this band that they care about. A simple analogy would be, if you got a black metal band, well, then call it Black Metal Band New Album 2019, or the year that it came out. Not the title of the band. You know, Woman Angel new album, or worse, Woman Angel, their album's called Under Sadistic Pressure. Okay. Nobody's looking for that. They're not going to find that. You know what I mean? So, like, if you put black metal, which they are looking for, then
I see.
Now, like, YouTube's going to maybe auto-suggest that upon a Dark Throne record that they were listening to.
Okay,
Like, let the technology work for you, because the technology is appropriated to keep you on the platform. So it's your due diligence to understand how it works to keep those working for you. And who wants to be on YouTube jamming Dark Throne, and then it recommends Disturbed?
Yeah.
You don't want to hear that. So
some
you'd
people
be happy
might,
that
but you and me probably wouldn't. Probably most Dark Throne fans wouldn't. You know.
I don't think Dark Throne fans would at all, or Destructor fans, maybe some. So you know what I mean? So if you're an Iron Maiden fan and Destructor comes up, you're gonna be like, kind of like, man, go YouTube. But in reality, YouTube gave the technology, but it was the guy that understood
to program it.
Yes,
that way. Okay,
and that's in a simple way what you were describing that, our conversation in Iron Maiden was all about.
Yeah.
And then take those workings and make them more. So, like, if you have a show, you got a radio show, like, you know, you got a radio show, like, you try to bring people that you want to talk to onto there, or that you're interested in. So it's like, all right, cool. Well, now they're here. What are you talking about? And those are the kind of questions I like to ask myself. So, you know, if you're having Gold Horn Brewery doing an event, well, what are we going to do? Well, Joel, who likes metal, made this beer. We did a thing. We had Athanar Cribs. We went to his house. We had my friend Ash in Cincinnati. We went to his house. He's a death metal guy. Athanar's more of a heavy metal guy, showing off Scorpion Records. He's showing off Cannibal Corpse, Ash in Cincinnati. Like, but people are interested in
both those
things.
bands, you know? So, yeah, it's cool.
And we all like to kind of go into people's house and see their trinkets.
So this is what you did on the so that was before Metal Relics, right? The Cribs kind of then turned into Metal Relics, or the
No,
other
that
way
was
around?
just
Okay.
Metal Relics doing its thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a portion of it, but it's a simple example to just kind of like bring back to early conversation of stuff that was mentioned. That like that's just as simple and out like because I could clear if you're listening probably like this guy likes to talk, could really ramble about it. So just to kind of give it a little more understanding and summarize it in easier ways. That it's like, when it comes to the releases and stuff, I really like to kind of try to create a fan journey out of it because, yes, when people say that digital killed music and stuff, they're right about something. They're just not right about what they just said. It didn't kill music. It killed things about it. It killed when you could grab a CD, a record, a physical format, and pull out the booklet and then look at the thanks list and see that Immolation was thanking Goo Goo Dolls, and you're like, Immolation's thanking Goo Goo Dolls?
Yeah.
But, maybe because they're both from New York or whatever the heck. Like, it makes you think. And so it like, but maybe they're also thanking Cannibal Corpse, and you're like, I never heard of this Cannibal Corpse band, and then you listen to it just because of
that's how I discovered
list.
some bands as a teenager, 20 years ago. Yeah.
So like, what do we do to manipulate YouTubes and the technology stuff
to basically
then
serve
be
that
your
same
thanks list?
function?
What's that?
To basically serve that same function, yeah.
Yeah, and the world is your oyster then. Like if you got a creative idea and people are going to want to see it, like be creative with it, like run with it. And I don't know, it's been working so far, and you get some pretty some very humbling responses from people, and it's really cool. So it's like something must be working, and then the bands themselves, I talking to Destructor and stuff, like they've been really cool and happy about it. So it's like, great, and I'm really happy to be going to Goldhorn and drinking some pretty tasty beers.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm big fan of their beers, yeah.
Yeah.
And just like
the food's really good too.
Okay, yeah, I've had the food a couple times as well.
I recommend it.
In addition to
hungry. Come hungry to this event.
You can, yeah, absolutely, and in our opinion, you won't be disappointed for sure. Yeah,
I don't think so, unless you came full and not into beer
and not in the metal.
And metal, and just wanted to walk your dog, and then bothered by the commotion. Yeah, you might want to go to the park that weekend.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that. Just like in this town, there's so many good original bands, writing and playing and recording and releasing their own heavy metal, and there's a lot of good clubs and places for bands to play, and there's also just so many fantastic breweries in this town. If you take the greater Cleveland area, Cuyahoga County and the surrounding counties, there's probably close to 100 breweries at this point. If you actually take the time and count. I've done a couple times. It's just such a big beer nerd, and I know I miss some every time I do it. But yeah, there's in my opinion, a ton of breweries making really good beer. So yeah,
especially if you throw Akron into the equation.
Oh yeah,
my God,
Cuyahoga County and all the surrounding counties. There's probably, like I said, probably almost 100 at this point, I would think, of varying sizes. Everybody from Great Lakes to a brewery with a bar that's like the size of the room we're in, and everything in between. So
I remember seeing like a billboard one time outside of the airport, and it was like, Ohio, home to like over 200 microbreweries. I'm like, that's fantastic. And then I caught myself.
It's way more than that now, I'm sure.
How big of an alcoholic do you sound reading that and go, wow, that's just great. Other people, they're probably like, it's got great parks but it's got that too. So, I guess that's a redeeming quality. But then winter hits, and then it kind of hits why music and beer are very dominant in the year. You're like, what else are you going to be doing?
Yeah.
Make some music and drink some tasty beers. And I'll definitely be doing that Sunday and selling stuff too. So if you want to be grabbing the Sonic Bullet,
so you will have these for sale at the show, of course. You'll have copies. I'm sure. Then the band, I'm sure, will have some copies as well. And
so CD and LP for Sonic Bullet, Maximum Destruction, a CD LP of that still available. We had to repress the CD on that, but
good for you.
Yeah, so that'll be in hand just in time. Got a notification today, and I was like, all right,
it's on its way, huh? So
on its way, and right in time, be in my hand. So it's up to the mailman at that point. So if it's not there,
it's not your fault.
I'll give you my mailman's contact. And then you'll be coming to the event, you'll be drinking some beer, and it won't exactly, unfortunately, at this point, be something that you can go to the store and buy Hopping Evil IPA beer, the Destructor beer. That's the title of it.
Yeah.
Which is a play off of Pounding Evil.
One of my favorite Destructor songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I not to spend too much time on that. I think that it was like when we were saying, like, well, what do we call this thing? I think I did. I was like, I don't know. What about like Hopping Evil? It's like, that sounds good. Like,
all right.
Like, there we go, title. But
so then you knew it had to be an IPA at that point, the style of the beer with that kind of a name, too.
I like IPAs.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
And somebody that hates them, I would definitely recommend at least trying this, because I think Goldhorn doesn't just fall under that umbrella of like if you hate IPAs, I got you. I understand that.
Some people are just not in that style.
Well, they're
of beer,
mostly the same. They're like, you know what I mean? Like, I have a friend's like, you gotta try this IPA. It's like, great, it's gonna taste the same. But only so many people or places have different styles, and I think Goldhorn's one of them that kind of can give you, like, how many times you've been to a brew pub and like they got like 3 different IPAs and you're like, I'll try all 3, and you're just like the same. So like, I think like they kind of got a difference going. But what I was going to say to that is, there's cool artwork for the beer. There's plenty of potential to bottle it, but it's not going to be bottled at this point.
Okay.
So you can't go and take it home
or canned. Because I know Goldhorn
bottle their cans,
their beers.
The same process.
So it's only to get it on tap at the brew pub to drink right now. Okay.
But if it succeeds, we've put that in the air enough
that
they will be willing to do something more. But you can walk away with a novelty other than your Awesome Sonic Bullets, the reissued and Maximum Destruction, the music. Because you can get some pint glasses. So you can have the Hopping Evil artwork on the pint
and you can
glass.
get a growler of the beer to go, probably.
Yes, and we weren't in time to give you that, because I was like, man, if we were only thinking of that. Because what are people going to really want to bring home is maybe a growler if you can't bring over a bottle. And let's make a Hopping Evil growler.
For the maybe uninitiated, non-craft beer aficionados, a growler is basically a jug, 64 ounces, that you fill up beer with. So
I have started to spin the description of a growler, though, because every growler I buy,
I give the very simple description, I guess, but yeah. But if you want to expand on that, go ahead.
I'm being that overthinking guy but no, because it's like, because a growler's only good for so long.
It's like 48 hours. You got to drink it all, or
yes. So
you bring
it's
it
a
to a
great
party,
excuse to be like,
over,
it's Sunday, but that growler is going to go bad. Shouldn't you? Hey, Frank, you shouldn't be drinking on a Sunday. You got work in the morning, but the growler is going to go bad. And there's 4 more beers in here. You wouldn't want me to waste money, right? So
I've been there.
It's
before,
a good excuse to drink. Is what I was going to say is the side description of the growler, the summarized description of a growler. Good excuse to drink, and we will unfortunately not have Hopping Evil growlers for that good excuse.
Pint glasses, though, that's pretty
pint
cool.
Glasses, though, so you can relive the thought that every time you're putting whatever in that pint glass, man, I wish there was some Hopping Evil in this glass.
And maybe, and I got that at that event, and what a cool event that was.
Yes.
That day at the brewery.
I wonder when they're doing another one. It'll remind you of Goldhorn. That way you'll be like, I got to go back to that place because they had delicious food and beer that... Come to think of it, what's going on with some Hopping Evil? Are you going to start bottling that? You know what I mean? We can get a group of people starting to demand some
I really
bottling.
like that, I mean, not that I don't like all the great clubs around town where bands can play, but I really think it's cool you guys are doing this event at someplace different that probably a lot of people haven't been to, and it's a different vibe, and it's a matinee show. It's in the afternoon, starts at 1:00. It'll be over by 5:30 or 6. So
do you like that?
Really nice
do you like
aesthetic.
that thought?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, cause
I'm a big fan of that. Yeah.
I didn't know what to think of that, but it seemed right. It was, there's another excuse to drink. Like, who wouldn't want to be like, well, it's an event at 1:00, and it's beer,
Yeah.
And we can shop, and then you can bring your kid, and you're better yet, kid, dog, whatever. Now you got all your responsibilities. Cat, maybe you can bring your cat. I don't know. But, whatever you want to bring. Iguana. Run it past them first. Don't let me be the spokesman. But,
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for stopping up. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Do you want to tell people about maybe give a website where if people want to look up your releases, they want to purchase your releases, check out the music? Where can people do that on the internet? Yeah.
The simple website would just be reapermetalproductions.com.
Okay.
It'll be slightly out of date, but it's 2019. You'll be able to navigate from there. You'll see like a Megadeth giveaway or something
and then
on there.
Are you still doing and then you're still doing the Heavy Metal Relics? Are you guys still doing new videos of that
yes,
can
it's just a season.
Check that on YouTube or
exactly. So Reaper Metal Productions. So if you're a YouTube user and you don't want to, why would I go to a website? I got you there. I thought that many times. So if you're if you're a YouTuber, like just search out Reaper Metal Productions. That's what the channel's called. But then think of it in those terms that it's a TV channel. So much like the AMC is going to have Always Sunny in Philadelphia or whatever the hell is on that that station, Walking Dead, maybe. I don't know. But other shows that tune in for a season, that's very much what Heavy Metal Relics is going to be, is a season of that. But and then you're going to be getting the very chatty version of me doing my podcast, Hellcast.
The Hellcast, yeah. You're still doing. You do a new one of those each week, or
We're doing mini episodes weekly, and then the mini episodes, because YouTube's a different ball game where people don't want to always consume long format content,
like an hour or two, or
right. Okay. So the podcast itself is an hour. Okay. So the videos itself on Friday, at least, it's just been a trial and error thing, honestly. Okay. But it's been working. That every Friday then has been 30-minute videos, and then the
Hellcast.
Yes.
Okay. So it's separate from Heavy Metal Relics, right? It's two separate. Actual productions or entities,
shows, on the platform. Okay. So like you said, if you're dialing to AMC, Always Sunny's on Sunday, The Simpsons, which is not AMC, is on Monday.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things. And so right now, Heavy Metal Relics is gearing up for that debut of new content.
Oh, okay. So the new season will start to be rolled out here pretty soon. Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to think we'd have our stuff in order to be kind of tackling a Halloween season. We did it the first time around. Okay. We did what I thought was a really clever video doing an homage to the Twilight Zone and a whole big reveal of, much in the spirit of a Twilight. It was actually very much a parody but make an excuse of talking about metal records while doing the parody. That even at the end, though, it had the big reveal. I don't know. I look back at it and that was pretty clever. But the internet didn't seem to care at the time. So maybe we'll just repost that but soon. I don't like to be that guy. Coming soon. But coming soon.
Okay.
So just subscribe to the channel. Do the whole YouTube thing. And
you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Check
you'll be
that out
informed. But Reaper Metal Productions is the magical sentence to be plugging into the internet, and it'll help you find your poison of taste.
And then I guess lastly, is your band Crucified Mortals? You guys got anything going on? Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've heard stuff from you guys, I think, right? Yeah.
Because of all this.
Okay. All this other stuff is keeping you busy.
Damn events and content. All joking aside, it is really that. But because honestly, because that's like my it's like my baby. So like when I hear somebody bring that up, I'm like, oh, you care. Because that would be the thing I would love to be doing first, is playing music. I love playing music, but I mean, to spare you a really long story of how that all came to play, it basically was working in the record industry and knowing how, you put out a record and it's like, there's a release date. And most of the time in the underground, it's like, there's a release date. I get why there is, but why is there a release date? Like, it's just Tuesday and your album came out. Like, you're